you have to be clear with the capacity that you have.
And it just feels like a much more colorful
Mhm.
and textured way to hang out.
The more I had a missed call from these types of people, the more I didn't want to call them back.
I'm really struggling. What do you do?
Welcome back to Not For Everyone. We're a podcast hosted by a hater and a lover, and really just your internet big sisters. I always feel weird saying that because I am an actual big sister, but
Oh,
I think it gives me more credibility on the internet to be the big sister to the masses. And you too.
yeah.
You're a middle sister, but a big sister too.
I know. Did I tell you one time how my actual little sister, um, kind of went on? She went on like a semi-joking rant about people because people always comment that on my YouTube channel. They're always like, "You feel like the big sister I don't have." Like it's a very common comment, which is why I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, I'll just start saying it if that's how
Latching
people
on.
feel." And my little sister Joy was like, "You're my fucking big sister. She's mine."
100%. That's, I think,
Yeah,
why I needed to give the qualifier today, because in case my
I
sister
know.
hears this,
Oh,
I mean, like, she gives me so much shit, but I know that she loves me and she wants me to herself. So I know that,
yeah.
Caitlin. Um, anyway, we have a little announcement, right? Just a reminder.
Oh, yeah. Reminder that coming up next week, our next episode will be the second installment of our summer dating series. It's the Hot Not Bothered summer dating series, How to Date Without Losing Your Freaking Mind. And we're doing one per month all through this summer. And next week's episode will all be about decoding listeners' biggest dating conundrums. So we've
Mhm.
got direct conundrums given to us by the listeners, and we're going to be hashing it out.
That's right.
So that's coming up next week.
Yeah, I'm excited to record that one.
Mm-hmm.
We got a message a couple days ago that was like from a listener who just got into a relationship and was kind of dubious of whether the dating series would be relevant for her. And she listened to that first episode we did a few weeks ago and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is applicable to like new friendships and just any new connections that I'm establishing in
Mm-hmm.
life. It doesn't have to be, strictly dating." So
No, that's so
I feel
nice.
like that was reassuring because I do think so much of it is just like how you show up as more of yourself in
Just
any
being a
situation.
person, getting in touch
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Yeah,
Okay, you told me that you have a fun audio clip to play for us, and
I do.
I just need to call out so I can ignore this the rest of the episode that I got a laser on my face like 4 hours ago, and I'm yeah. So if it feels really hard to look at me right now,
Can
that's
I?
why.
You told me that before we started recording. I don't think it looks as bad as you think. And I
Mm.
noticed you liking on Instagram a reel that was like about some specific laser treatment. I don't know.
Oh,
You know
funny.
how Instagram feeds you like in the top right corner of reels now, it has these bubbles of you can see what your
Yeah,
friends have liked.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
took me to that for you. And I was like, "Oh, interesting. I like wonder what this is." And I feel like maybe it's the treatment you just got. I'll
Maybe.
confirm later. I'll send it to you, but if I
Okay.
can
Well,
find it.
it was the cool peel laser, which is a CO2 laser, as best as I understand it.
Yeah.
CO2 seems to is like the gold standard of skincare, pore refining, skin tightening. But this one is like a laser and it does the little wounds on your skin and it's really good
Yeah.
for it's one of the rare and few um, treatments that can target like textured skin from acne scarring, like pitting and ice pick scars, and the things that are like really hard texturally to fix.
Hmm.
And actually, in our last podcast video, we got so many comments, people hyping
Yeah.
up our skin glow. And I
I
was
know.
like, I think that's because I did one last month. I
Okay, I was gonna
genuinely,
ask if you've
yeah,
done it before. Yeah.
yeah, I did it a month ago, and I think I already saw like insane results. There were so many comments about it.
Yeah, I really please let those be the majority of your comments for the rest of time because we got a lot of compliments and I was
Yeah.
going for like last week's episode. I remember that I was wearing my hair naturally. Like I didn't have time to do it, and I got out of the shower and like let it air dry, and it air dries kind of curly, and some days that looks good and some days that looks bad, and that day it was
Yeah,
like
the
something in
air dry
between.
gamble, the air
Yeah, it's
dry
like it was
Russian
a little
roulette.
frizzy, but like it kind of looked beachy, and I just tried to go with it. And so I appreciate that people validated how we looked that day.
That's all we want.
Yeah, I do have a voice memo. So a friend of mine who's like a friend that I don't keep up with regularly. Like we went to college together, we had mutual friends. We were always like friendly and in overlapping groups, but we've never been like besties, but I think she's awesome and she listens to the podcast and she out of the blue voice memoed me, which like she's not somebody that I typically do that with and wanted advice on something and I thought it was so relatable that I wanted to play it. She said that I could.
Hey girl, I have been having this issue lately where I'm like so overwhelmed with just people reaching out and like I should be so happy and grateful that I have a great community of people who are like wanting to hang out or wanting to catch up or whatever it is, but I'm finding myself so paralyzed when like like a long distance friend, for example, will call and I'll miss the call, but then I'm just avoiding it because I think, okay, this conversation is going to be at least an hour, and I don't really have an hour right now. Or like, alternatively, with people who not like top tier BFFs, but just like for example, people I went to grad school with, where I'm friends with them, but we don't see each other all the time, and then I always feel like whenever we connect over text, it feels like it turns into this, oh, we should hang out. Oh, let's get coffee, la la la. And it's like, I am so busy right now with work and just like balancing this relationship that I'm in. And I just feel like I don't have mental capacity to do a lot of things right now. And I do want that to change. Do you have hacks, tips, etc. for just like, I don't want to avoid my friends, but I don't want every text to feel like, okay, we're going to end up just like, we have to make a plan. And I also, once like the day goes by where maybe I like see a text come in, it's not a good time to respond, or I just don't have the capacity to respond, it like sits in my unread messages for days and days, and then I feel like, okay, a certain time frame has passed, so now I just feel fucking weird. How do you get past that shit? Do you deal with any of this? Am I speaking to the right person? um, Thank you. You're the best. Okay, bye.
Okay. She's
Wow,
very
yeah.
adorable and very relatable. And you can like
Yeah.
palpably hear the stress in her voice about like,
Yeah.
am I a bad person? Like, am I a bad friend for kind of not wanting to talk to my friends? And I related so much.
Yeah.
Maybe do you have immediate thoughts before I go? Because I have responded to her. She
Oh,
knows my thoughts, but do you have,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, this hits like so hard. I feel like I don't think I have, it's something I'm in the midst of fumbling with for sure. And in a way, I'm so relieved to hear somebody give us permission to talk about it
yeah,
because I often feel like I shouldn't or can't talk about this feeling online when I know there's so many people, especially so many people who um, follow our content who are struggling with the opposite. They're struggling with feeling lonely. There's in your 20s, especially so much loneliness, but really throughout life, 30s, whatever, moving to a new state and people moving all over the country, your friends leaving. Like, I think there's so many people. There's just like the epidemic of loneliness. And so I feel, even though I've been through that for like over a decade, now that I have a different problem, I feel like I'm not allowed, like, I shouldn't talk about it because it'll sound, I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know what it'll sound, but like maybe it's not what people want
ungrateful.
to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah, or just out of touch or like,
yeah,
but it is in another way. I also feel like I hear the same struggle from most of my friends. Like, I feel like when she described that feeling of having the message sit in your inbox for days, I will say weeks for so many of my friends, and then almost every time we start texting again, these aren't my best friends, but that next level or so.
mm-hmm,
And then every time we text, it's them or I being like, oh my gosh, I thought I responded to this, or like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for the delay. It's like almost every text conversation with this level of friends now starts with someone apologizing for the delay and for being overwhelmed. And so thinking about that just right now, I'm just like, it's not just you and me. It is
Yeah.
a lot of people. It is a lot of people. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's a part of maybe we talked about this a little bit on here before about how, people move all the time now. You go to grad school with people and then they spread out all over the world. You go to college with people and they spread out all over the world or high school or wherever. And people just move so much more frequently than they did basically in the history of the world. And so we all have friends all over the place and people coming in and out of your lives so many more times. So I feel like there must be a growing number of the group of like that mid-tier friend that you care about. You do want to see sometimes, you don't want to write them off. You aren't trying to never see them again or never talk to them or write them off, but you also don't have the same capacity. And even if you're seeing this person once every 4 months or once every 6 months, is some of these friends to me, if I have 15 of them,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That is a lot of catch ups. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, and catch-ups, we've also notoriously talked about catch-ups, I feel like, in our shared hatred of them. Like, as
My
much
least
as it's
favorite.
kind of a necessary evil in some respects, like if you want to keep people close, there's some level of knowing about each other's lives and how each other are doing that not only is required, but like you probably care about and you probably do want to know at some level. But it's also so exhausting at the end of a long day when you've been
Oh my
working and you've been
God.
interacting with your immediate circles and the people you
Yeah.
immediately are kind of like beholden to your partner, your closest friends, your family, your coworkers, whatever. After all of that, to catch up with somebody who you do like and care about and want to know about their life and want them to know about yours. But like now I have to give you a whole rundown of what my last three
Yeah.
months have been since the last time we talked. Like,
Yeah. It's like I'm
what do you mean?
I'm already struggling to keep up with life and now I have to give you like a book report on life and
Yes.
it's I do feel like it's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think another thing that I struggled with during that time, and I still struggle with, but maybe less so. Like I do actually, by the way, we're talking a lot about the problem. I do have a couple of tips, solution-ish type of things that we'll get to.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
want
I
to
just want
hear.
to validate the problem so much because I agree, like it's pervasive and it's hard to talk about. You don't want anybody to hear you talking about it or and seem like, oh, are they talking about me and do I not matter to them? And like they're kind of complaining about our friendship. So there's that aspect of it too. And I do feel like something I struggled with was feeling like I had certain friends who were in this like ring where I don't talk to them every day. And they were a lot better. They are a lot better at reaching out to me than I am at reaching out to them. Like it felt like they were chasing me around and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the capacity. And the more it was like the more that I heard from them, the more I had a missed call from these types of people, the more I didn't want to call them back because it just started to feel like I don't have the capacity. Like, don't you get that? Like, which is it's like feels terrible to say because if I think about these people, I love and respect them and I want them in my life. But there is a dynamic that I feel like came through in my friend's voice memo of like I'm avoiding them now. Like it didn't start as avoiding. It started as I just don't have
Mm.
capacity
And now I'm
and
anxious and now it's
and
a
I'm and
thing.
it snowballs and then they call you
Yeah.
again and you don't have capacity that day either and it just keeps snowballing and then it starts to feel like you're running away from them and they're
Yeah.
chasing you and then that's like not a dynamic that you want in your friendships and
Yeah.
I've been in that kind of pattern with some friends
Yeah.
and I don't even think they probably don't see it that way but on my end being anxious about owing them a call and then oh my god they called me again I still owe them a call back oh my god they're texting me and I'm giving them less and I owe them, feeling like I owe a
Yeah.
response.
The other thing I feel I've had, um, I literally was thinking about this today with a friend who texted me, and the text started with, "Oh my gosh, I thought I
Mhm.
responded to this. I'm so sorry. It's such a delay, blah, 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 blah." And we were making plans, to meet up. And I was thinking about the fact that she has initiated plans for us to hang out maybe the last 20 times we hung out.
Yeah.
And that made me so uncomfortable that she might think, I mean, I'm not initiating with her. And every time she brings something up, I agree and I'm happy and excited to see her. But I am not going to initiate in between. I won't even initiate text conversations with people anymore because I'm like, well, what if they want this to be a
Yeah.
15-minute text conversation and I don't have the time? So I found myself like I hardly ever initiate anything with any of my friends, which absolutely gives the wrong message about how
Hmm.
I value them. But if you have 20 or more mid range friends you're keeping up with in a year, and they all reach out to you to do even a once monthly catch up, I do not have the capacity to initiate more catch ups and flood it more. It's like I'm now dependent on limiting it to the amount of times that they reach out to me. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
I still feel really nervous saying all of this. Um, for people who are like maybe not experiencing the same thing. So I hope there can be understanding for like I feel so self-conscious talking
Yeah.
about this in case somebody, I don't know, labels it ungrateful because I guess I imagine, to me, I think a correct analogy would be like if you're talking to someone who's unemployed and they've had a really, really hard time getting a job, and then you talk to someone who's like working six jobs, and the person working six jobs is going to have complaints too. And to the unemployed person, I can understand why they don't want to hear those complaints.
Yeah.
But for the person with six jobs, I also know why they're losing their fucking minds.
Totally.
And I do think it can be both, but I do feel really like scared of criticism just talking about it. But the truth is it feels very overwhelming to me. It feels very scary to think that, first of all, I'm overwhelmed personally. Second of all, it feels scary to think that the people I care about cannot feel the way that I value them because there's not enough hours in the day. And then yeah, like trying to schedule all these things in, knowing I'm not showing up fully present because in the meantime, I'm not getting downtime and recharge time or alone time, or like I don't get to go to the gym this week because I'm overwhelmed. Like
Hmm.
it does feel completely untenable and like it will be damaging relationships actually, which is not the fucking goal. I'm not
And
trying
I
to ghost
think
people.
I think that's exactly why I hope that like grace can be extended for this conversation because it's coming from a place of like wanting to show up for people and wanting to be a good friend and worrying that you're not being a good friend, but also
Mhm.
wanting to take care of yourself and listen to yourself when you are at capacity and prioritize your needs, but also show people that you care. Like, I hope that that's relatable no matter what part of life people are applying it to. Like you gave the job example. I feel like the same thing goes for relationships. Sometimes I feel weird about talking, we're two people who are in long-term serious healthy relationships at this point in our lives. We talk a lot about our pasts with other partners and like hardships that we've been through in dating and all of that. But at the same time right now, we're both happy and good. And I have some self-consciousness and self-doubt around talking too much about that. Does it seem like I'm bragging or it's tone deaf for people who don't have it? Or on the flip
True.
side, if I bring up
Yeah.
problems, because we also talk about challenges that we might have with our partners or communication issues that we have to navigate with them or whatever, am I seeming like I'm complaining about something that I know so many of our listeners and people in my life want and are craving? So I just
Yeah.
think there's no way to avoid that, like what is going on in my life right now. is not what is going on in every life of every person. And that doesn't mean that it's not valid to talk about. Like, I think comparing pain and
I
like
know.
comparing the size, like, oh, there's
Yeah.
kids in Africa who don't have food. Yes, I know. I'm very upset about it. And also,
Yes.
I am in my life. And so, anyway, I
Bless you.
definitely
I know you're right. I know you're
I
right.
relate to the stress about it, but I do think it's important to talk about because this is the stuff that me and my friends talk about most of the time. And a
Yeah.
lot of my friends and people like my friends listen to this podcast. And like we're constantly talking about at this point in our lives, at least in our 30s, maybe it's specific to this decade, but like how do I balance all of the things that are on my plate? I've arrived at a place where I love all the things on my plate, and yet there's just too many of them, and I can't do them all in a day or in a week.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah,
do,
and
Jess? I'm really struggling with this, and I
yeah.
don't think I'm good at like I really need your tips. Yeah. I will
Yeah,
say
so
if one of these people are listening or even if they're not, if I don't want to spend time with someone, I don't. There's
mhm.
plenty of people that I have politely ended the relationship with. I wouldn't even call it a friendship because, maybe we tried to hang out, it didn't work. We don't have that much of a connection, not a bad person, but like if I see you even once every I have friends I see like once every 5 months. That's somebody I like. That is someone I like a lot. I'm not doing that as charity work. That means I really like you.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem like cutting it off if we don't have a connection. But I'm really struggling. I what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with this too, but I think I've figured out a couple of things that help. And I am really lucky that I have a lot of friends that I've picked up over the years, and they live in a lot of different places. So there's all sorts of ways that I do and don't keep in touch with them. I think something that helped me recently was there was this article, I might have mentioned it before on the podcast, an article that came out about a year ago, maybe, that was like, it was about the 8-minute phone call. And basically, it's this theory or premise that just talking to a friend for 8 minutes can like drastically improve moods. And it doesn't require like a whole long catch up to get that kind of like hit on both sides of like connection and support and just like fun and whatever you need from your friends. And so I actually, when that article came out, I can link it in the description of this episode. I sent it to a few friends, specifically friends who are in this category of like, I wish we caught up more. We don't. Maybe I feel like you chase me for it sometimes and I'm not available and I feel like the bad friend. I was just very forthcoming with like, look at this article. This is really cool. I feel like we should try it. Like, I know that I've been MIA and I don't want to be, but I also know that we're both really busy. What about the 8-minute phone call? And like, I've started to implement that with certain friends, just not on any, specific schedule, but like giving the permission to both of us that we don't have to catch up for a long time to be able to maintain our friendship. And that's worked really well.
Mm-hmm. So
Another thing,
these are people who don't live in your city of Chicago. These are people
yes.
where it's not an option to see in person.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is mostly for long distance friends. Another
Because
thing I
the thing that gets hard with
literally,
long distance is like the more you put it off, the less I feel like an 8-minute phone call is respectful enough. Like if we
mm,
haven't talked in months and I love you, then I feel like, okay, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it's never 30 minutes. It's usually an hour. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I feel like that's what always gets me. But maybe I should just say that. Like, do I send
yeah.
this article to people?
Well, I feel like
I'd be like,
it's kind of like
I have
working
10
out.
minutes. It sounds
Yeah,
like a
it's kind of like
horrible,
working
like,
out. Like, I tell
yeah.
myself that it's better to
Okay.
go walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes
Then
than to
nothing.
not do it at all. And I
Okay,
feel like
cool.
it's the same. Like, and I hate to make that comparison and make it seem like it's something I dread to talk to my friends. But in the context of this conversation, when we're talking about how much we have on our plates,
No, I get
sometimes
you.
it does
Yeah,
feel at the end of the day like something I dread. It's like in my heart, I want it, but like
I
physically
know.
in my body right this second, I don't want it.
Not in my
And
body. Never in my
definitely not in
body.
my body.
Never in my body.
And so I don't know, like to me, I have found even a short conversation scratches the itch for
Okay.
both
Yeah.
sides, and people seem to
Nice.
respond well to it. You don't
Okay,
necessarily
cool.
have to send this article. You could also just be like, "Hey, I'm so busy. I can give you a call on my walk to the grocery store today. I know it'll be quick, but like, are you down for like a 5-10 minute chat?"
That's
Like
nice. That
you
is
can
nice
just
too, because if I feel like it's better, I'm thinking about like if I'm proactive about it rather than if they ask me to call and I'm like, Daddy's busy, he can give you 8 minutes. But if
yeah.
I initiate, which is also part of my goal, is to be able to initiate it more and
Yeah.
be like, can I call you? Just say hi, miss your face, 5-10 minutes. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. I
Right.
also
Okay.
think it can be helpful. And this, again, this sounds a little brutal. This is like my corporate side coming out, but
Yes.
to give an end time, like I've had, this is on the networking side of things. I have a
Yeah.
lot of conversations all the time with people
Stop
who are
bragging.
younger
You have
in
a
their
lot of
careers.
conversations all the time.
All the time. I'm always having
I'm
conversations.
always
No,
having
I
conversations.
love to talk to people who are younger than me, getting started in their careers and like offering mentorship or whatever. I genuinely don't pursue it. It just comes to me. I think I make it known that I like that, and people refer people to me, and I just end up having a lot of these types of conversations where I'm helping somebody figure out like, "Oh, you should apply for these types of jobs," or "This is what I did when I took a year off," or whatever. And so I have found in those conversations, I love having them and I say yes to most of them. But sometimes people, whether they're just not thinking about it or they're being a little bit selfish with their time, I'll say I can do 1 p.m. and they put an hour block on the calendar. And it's like, dog, this is a 30
No,
minute
no, no,
conversation.
no, no,
You
no,
should know that this
no.
is a 30-minute
No, no,
conversation.
no. And if I make it an hour, that's an extra bonus I'm extending, but
Yes, if we
it's going to
stay
start
on
as a
longer,
20-30 minute.
I liked you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have gotten in the habit of making sure that I say the end time I can do from 1 to 1:30 on this day. And I feel like a similar
Ooh,
tactic works
okay.
for
Okay.
friend calls. It's like I can talk until 2 and then I have to go do whatever I have to do.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I do think
Yeah.
you have to be clear with the capacity that you have, and be present while you're on the call. Like, make sure that that's a time when you can actually talk to your friend and be present and enjoy the conversation. But also be like, yeah, that's all I had today. I'm glad we got it in. Like, I think there's just a realism that has to be applied because the
Yeah.
alternative is that you don't talk at all. So, what's better, you know?
I think most people actually get it. It's funny how I build up this demand from people that they haven't ever actually stated to me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, they want an hour long phone call. You know what, most of the time when I get on these calls, they're ending the call on me. I'm just too nervous to end the call, so I will let it go into oblivion until they're like, that's enough of you, that's enough.
Yeah.
And no, yeah, I'm not very assertive with this. Okay, I
That's
another
why
question
setting an
now.
end time
Yeah,
before
end
you're on the
time.
phone
I can
is
do
really
2 to
helpful.
2:03.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Is
like,
that too much?
somebody that I mentioned her at the very beginning of the podcast, my sister calls me a lot and I call her as much as I can, but probably less than her. And I definitely call her back when she calls me, or I try to. And whatever, it's my sister. We have ongoing, we're talking every few days. And I made it a thing in my head, I think. I realized this recently. Anytime
Yeah.
Caitlin would call me and I missed the call, I then felt like I was on a countdown of like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta call my sister back. And if I don't do it in this amount of time, I'm a bad sister. She's gonna be mad at me. I'm gonna hear about it. She didn't really set this precedent. I mean, my sister can be a little intense, but she honestly did not set this precedent. I made it up in my head.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was putting myself on this countdown. And usually I would call her back in a reasonable amount of time, like within 24 hours. And she's just like, hey, whatever. Like, what are, What's up? Like, there's nothing specific. She doesn't really give a shit. Like, she knew we were gonna
I
talk.
love your Caitlin impression.
Like,
Hey,
she's like, "What do you
whatever.
want?" Like,
That is a pretty good Caitlin impression.
and I think I just at some point
Yeah.
it clicked. Like, oh, she's not calling me, and she's not starting the same countdown and like
Yeah.
stopwatch that I'm starting to call her back.
Yeah.
She's the type of person that actually, when she's on a walk or when she's in the car,
Oh,
she
yeah.
calls a bunch of friends, and whoever
That
picks
is
up picks up.
that is most of them. That is most of those calls,
Yes,
I think. And then I do the thing where I'm like, they must be so pissed and disappointed that I didn't pick up. Whereas personally, if I call someone, even when I'm in a mood and I want to talk to somebody, I don't, if they don't pick up, I don't think about it.
I love it. I
I just
love when
start
they don't
thinking,
pick
first
up.
of all, that's the best case scenario. I
Yeah.
called you, you got the missed notification, and
Mhm.
I'm off the hook. That's the
You
best.
see that I
But
care about you, but we didn't have
yes,
to interact.
but even if I wanted to get you on the phone, even if when it's like I'm kind of in a crisis or like I really am lonely or whatever, there are the moments where I'm like, I really would like a call. And I never am thinking, fuck them for turning it down. It's like
Yeah.
you just go on with the rest of your life. And then I have this idea that other people don't have the same richness to their life. Like they're just sitting at home thinking about how I didn't pick up their call.
So
They don't
true.
even remember that they called me. They're probably so happy I didn't pick up and they
No,
could
they're
check their
on the
box
phone with
too.
someone else
They're
already.
talking to
That
someone
that's
else. They've moved
I've
on.
literally started to visualize to like get this anxiety out of me. I
So funny.
visualize that as soon as I didn't pick up that call, they
Yeah.
called someone else and they got on the phone with them. And right now, as I'm stressed about it, they're talking to a different friend and they don't even remember me anymore. Like
I
if
know
they
they
don't
don't even
remember that they
remember
called
me.
me.
Please forget
Yeah.
me. Please forget that you
A
knew me.
lot of times people are just
Oh,
they're on their way to do something. They're like, "Oh, I have the energy to talk to someone on the phone." They give them a call and then the
never.
person on
It's
the
never
receiving
been
end, if
me.
you're like me, you're like, "Oh my God, they need me." It's such a
It's so
self-importance, you
delusional.
know?
It's so delusional. Okay, next question.
Okay.
What do you do about the in-person shit?
Hear me out. There are a lot of ways that picking a doctor, finding a doctor at all, finding a doctor who's going to treat you well and have time for you and be available when you need them and hopefully live nearby and like respond to your messages. That sounds a lot like dating, doesn't it? Or any relationship, really. It sounds a lot like friendships. And oftentimes we're forced to settle because it's really hard to find a decent fit in the first place. That is until ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high quality in network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. I would say that like 80% plus of the doctors that I've seen in the last 10 years have been found through ZocDoc. It is reliable no matter where I live, no matter what type of doctor I'm looking for. I'm able to get an appointment quickly. And just having that there for me whenever I'm looking for any type of care has honestly helped me repair a lot of my trust issues. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/not-for-everyone to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/not-for-everyone. ZocDoc.com/not-for-everyone. Fully spelled out. So, like the
I'm dying.
kind of second ring friends that you can't see as often, that
I
sort of
can't
thing.
I can't even see my best friends as often as I
Yes, I
want to.
agree.
I can't even see my best friends as often as I want to. And then yeah, any ring of person who's like I Jessica,
I know.
it's crazy.
I know. I haven't figured this one out. I do think something that helps is that I really like mixing my friend groups and like bringing a lot of people together. So I'll do a couple times a year, like for my birthday and around the holidays, I'll host a party or a barbecue or whatever, and I'll just invite
Yeah.
everyone. And I feel
But I
like
do that. But no, no, no.
it's not
I
enough.
do that. And then every single one of them says, I want us time. We need to catch up.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I don't
Ugh.
know. I haven't figured this one out. I think I do totally agree. Like, I don't even get to spend time, as much time as I want with my best friends and my favorite people.
Yeah.
And so that does always run through my head when somebody else reaches out and is like, "Hey, we should do something." I'm like, I'm thinking about, is that really what I want to spend my time on if I haven't even seen Kai? Um,
Yeah.
I don't
This
know.
is I can
That's a
share
hard
what
one.
I'm fucking what I'm doing right now. I'm still obviously overwhelmed, but these things have at least helped. And I'll say right now, I don't know, maybe they're going to sound brutal, but I'm just trying to survive out here. So the first one is I feel like doing morning coffee always
Mm,
guarantees that it's shorter because people have to go work.
so
Like
smart.
if we meet in the evening, it can easily be no one believes or like it doesn't occur to anyone that I will work till like 1 a.m. And so I'm working. If we hang out in the evening, it's very likely I'm going to go home and edit later.
Hmm.
But that's not people just think you'll hang out for 3 or 4 hours, whatever, which
Yeah.
I would like to do. But I feel like morning coffee helps a lot. And I do actually love getting up early and like getting a kick in my butt and having social time in the morning. I wish I did it more.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like it's just fun to be like see a girlfriend at like 8 or 9 a.m. I actually really love that when I can make myself do it. And then the other thing, this one maybe does sound brutal. I don't know. I'm very judgmental of myself with this, but I can't live. Is just not scheduling with urgency. I've noticed that anytime anyone asks my time of me, I immediately assume I have to accept
Mm,
and assume I have to accept for as soon as possible.
yeah.
Like, if I have time in the next 2 weeks, I schedule in the next 2 weeks. That's as soon as possible for me. And I've noticed I have this one friend who she's also super busy. She's super social. I know that we probably occupy a similar level of friendship for each other. But she's also good at reaching out and she'll often reach out to hang out. And then I ask, sure, what's your availability? And she'll point to like a month ahead or something.
Yeah.
And I've never been offended by that, but I also it never occurred to me to do that. And I realized with those people scheduling a month ahead, in my head, I was like, oh, is that rude? Or like, oh, I could dig out sometime at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. Or, oh, that's just kicking it down the road and everything's going to build up anyway. But it doesn't because it spaces the hangouts longer. Because I found like, to get very
Yeah.
mathematical about it, if I immediately schedule to hang out with them next week, and then our usual cadence is every 3 months, that means I have one next week and I have one in a week and 3 months, as opposed to if I kick it down a month, then I have one a month from now and one 5 months from now. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because it'll be
Hmm.
3 months plus a month, whatever it is. So I feel like there is actually there is like more benefits to scheduling way farther out. And it also allows me, it's like I get to accept the invitation. I do want to see you. I'm agreeing to see you. We're putting a firm date on the calendar. And there's a month till that time, but in that month, they know I want to see them and we have something on the calendar. And then
Yep.
I don't know. I think in my head, it feels like this shouldn't make a difference, but it really, really does. And people do it to me all the time. So I don't know why it took me so long to catch up that like it's that feeling of urgency again. I think
Yeah.
it's the anxious girl in me that feels like I have to please people immediately. I'll please you in a month.
Oh, I'll please you. Just
Oh,
give
I'll
me
please
time.
you. You're going to
Yeah,
be begging
I
for me to stop.
I agree with both of those. I have like, yeah, I think I have add-ons for each. So on that second point about like scheduling out further, I totally agree. And something that has helped me do this is that I think I've just become more selfish with my time and I've
Great.
given myself permission to do that. And so if I'm looking at my next 2 weeks, which a past version of myself would have tried to squeeze it all in the next 2 weeks. If somebody texts me, I'm trying to get them in here as soon as possible with that urgency. I now scope out my 2 weeks in a way where I have designated nothing days, downtime
Yeah.
days, spontaneous days. So if
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking at like a weekend, let's say a friend could text me today and say, hey, we should get together soon. And I could look at my this weekend and my next weekend and be like, oh, I actually have free Saturdays. But maybe I have plans that Friday and something with Ryan's family Sunday. And maybe it would really benefit me to have a Saturday to kind of do nothing, get organized around the house, do a workout, like have my ugly time. And
Mm-hmm.
so I won't offer those up. Like, I think part of it is just knowing that just because I have a free day
I
or free
know.
time
You're
doesn't
so
mean I need
right.
to offer that up. They can't see my calendar. They don't know that.
Who the fuck is
So,
doing my laundry then? Like
exactly.
when I get those free evenings, I'm doing errands and chores. I'm
Yes,
not even getting to chill. Like
exactly.
it is an infuriating feeling.
Like if there's exceptions. If it's like somebody's birthday, I'll do multiple things in a weekend, if it's
Yeah.
some bigger event or something for a really close friend or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Of course there's those times when it's just busy and I want to be doing all those things and they have to be happening in that like tighter span of time. But I look at my calendar in a way now where I build in downtime and I protect it as much as possible. And if that means we're not hanging out for a month, then so be it. I'm busy on those days because I need this time to myself.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily have to know that that's what it's for,
Oh,
but I'm
hell
also
no.
pretty comfortable telling people if they were to, ask, not that they do. They
Yeah.
really don't ask. Nobody
What are you
cares.
doing then? That would be
Yeah.
wild.
I
Why?
know,
What are you
right?
doing all week?
It's like
Avoiding you. I'm
but
avoiding
I would
you.
be very comfortable to say I've been so busy that I actually
Of
protected that
course.
weekend
Yeah.
as like me time. And
Yeah.
anybody
Otherwise,
who
I'll
I
be
keep in my
stabbing
life
people.
should respect that. Yeah.
Yeah. I
The
have
other
started
thing,
doing, oh, sorry, go on.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead. I was talking for a while.
I was going to say, I think my version of that is I've started on the weekends looking, I always look ahead at like my work week. What do I need to be, how do I need to pace out the work week? But I've also been looking at my evenings and social calendar um, and being like, okay, do I have 4 days blocked off already? That's my max. I am not going to be enjoying this week. I'm not going to be getting to the gym. I'm not going to have clean
Yeah.
laundry. I'm not going to have groceries in the fridge. I'm not going to have sanity. I'm going to be snapping at Justin. I'm going to be snapping at every obligatory social event if I have like more than 3 or 4 days schedule up. And I do
Yeah.
usually have to like, so I'll look at the week ahead over the weekend and then like lock it down. And I just have to tell myself ahead of time, no, Caroline, no. You say no. You say no to people.
Yeah.
You say no.
Yeah. I do that
It's
too.
hard. I'm not healed in this way. Like this is, I don't
It's
think
hard all the time.
I'm not, eh, yeah.
The other
Yeah.
thing that you mentioned
Tell
was
me.
the breakfast or the coffee dates first thing in the morning, which I really like that idea. And it is such a like restorative way to start a day to see a friend. Like you just feel so much more grounded
It's really
and light
nice.
the rest of the day.
It's a totally
Um,
different feeling than ending your day when you're like you've stared at your work screen for eight
yes.
hours. Like it actually is really, really nice.
It's
Yeah.
the same as doing, again, I'm going to compare it to a workout again. Whatever.
Yeah,
I
do
like
it,
working
girl.
out actually. If I do it at the
Great.
right time, I
Yeah, I
actually
wish
like
I was
it.
working out.
In the morning,
I'm
I feel
pissed.
like it has such a better impact and like starts. It's like you have to go. You wake up and you have to go, and you don't have any excuses. By the end of the day, I have like 15 excuses that I can
It's
get
all I
myself out
have.
of these things. But the
Yeah.
other thing is that if doing like a morning coffee isn't realistic for you, something that's been working for me too is like going to specific events with friends. So rather than let's go get dinner or let's get drinks and it's like a catch up, across a table from each other and we could end up staying for hours and hours. I'll do an art class with a friend or I'll go to a comedy show with a friend. Like find something that you're interested in doing and a lot of times it's something that maybe I'll sign up for regardless just to do on my own. And then if a friend, this happened recently, I signed up for an art class because I've been trying to incorporate a little more just like creative time that doesn't have to have like an output for me, which I've talked about a little bit. And so I signed up for an art class that seemed cool to me by myself. And then a friend texted me and was like, hey, we should get together soon. And I was like, oh, actually, I signed up for this art class. Do you want to come? Do you want to sign up for it too?
Oh, that's
And it's
nice.
a nice way. If they say no, that's fine. I was going to go anyway. But if they're not available that day, whatever.
Yeah.
But it has worked out where one of my friends and I did that a couple weeks ago. And it was like a 2 hour contained thing. It was something I wanted to go to, whether she came or not. We ended up like really enjoying it and getting to do something with our hands. We did a little bit of catching up during like the times in the class when we could talk, but there were also times when we were paying attention to the instructor. And it just like was low pressure And then at the end of the 2 hours, we said bye and went home. And so you don't have to make it a whole long catch up that could drag out. You could find some little thing to do.
That's
It could
cute.
be even without paying for an art class. Go for a walk. Like you can
Yeah.
only walk for so long. Let's go for a walk right after work before
You
dinner.
can only
You
go
could
for a
even
walk
cap
for
it.
so
Let's go for a
long.
walk after work before dinner. That's 5 to 6. You got an hour. Squeeze it in. Like
So
it doesn't
funny.
always have to be a whole
Yeah.
thing. We don't have time for a whole thing.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm so horrible at this. I do think I think that's first of all, that's a really cute idea of just like you book the art class on your own, assuming you'd go alone.
Hmm.
And then if someone reaches out, you're like, I got a trap for you. Meet me in this art
Yes. Yes, exactly.
class. I set this trap for you.
And they're delighted. They're
No,
delighted by
that
my
and it's
traps.
such a more fun way to hang out. And I'm so tired of the catch up.
Yeah.
And one thing I guess I did slide into recently um was yeah, not signing up for a thing, but just doing I don't even know what you would call this, but I had always avoided kind of doing interior design activities with my friends because to me, I'm like, well, that's work. I'm doing that. I'm
Mm,
working all day. Now I'm going to come work more. Or like, if I'm doing it, should I be filming it? Should I find a way to make this a video? Like, I have to get this job done. Like, I was really resistant to it. Um, and then maybe it started like with Abby. Abby and I had our editor, we hadn't seen each other in for a bit. And she wanted help maybe with like a gallery wall. And for whatever reason, I was like, okay, let's just go do the gallery wall. And I still had this idea in my head that like, oh, it's gonna be like work and it's not really a friend catch up and blah blah blah. But then it was like so much more fun. It was so much fun and it was so much more fun doing an activity together. And it's something I love to do. I don't know why I really had this block in my head about like, well, I do that for work and it's very stressful often for work when I have deadlines and I have to film it and I have to edit it and I have to get approval and blah, blah, blah. And I think I just had it so solidified in my head as something that would be stressful that I forgot it can be very fun with a
hmm.
friend. And it was like the most fun way to hang out. And then I started doing more of that. Like my friend Ashley, we've been working on a room design for her, which will be a video. And it is part of work. But now when we hang out and she loves a catch up, and I do love a catch up with her, I bring my laptop and we work on the design a little bit, or I bring the laptop over to her place and she makes dinner and I'm pulling up, furniture samples for her. And it just feels like a much more colorful
Hmm.
and textured way to hang out. And I don't know what my advice actually is here, but I think I just have this clear separation about like these are things you do when you hang out. These are things that are work. These are things that are projects. These are things that are favors. And like I'm I don't know. I think just trying the things I was resistant to, maybe that's the advice.
Yeah, and also we said this in our Hot Not Bothered episode for May. And it was relating to dating, but I think that it's relevant here too. Like setting the tone and setting the culture for what the norm is going to become between you and these friends. So,
That's so true.
for example, like as you were talking and just talking about kind of normalizing, like let's do other things while hanging out. It doesn't always have to be the deep face to face catch up. I was thinking about friends of mine who I maintain relationships with, but I don't necessarily see all the time, whether they live in Chicago where I live or whether they live somewhere else. And I thought of Instagram, which like sucks because it takes over our lives, but at the same time, there's something to be said for like just having that like open dialogue back and forth with certain people where you're sending them a meme that you thought that made you think of them or a video that made you think of them or maybe on Instagram an event pops up and it made you think of them. And I feel like because I do that with a lot of people, as weird as it is, like I hate to give social media that much credit, but I'm the type of person that like if something reminds me of you, I'll send it to you even if we haven't talked in a year. And I feel like because of that, it normalizes that like my friend who sent me this voice memo, who I haven't talked to in a year probably, sent me this voice memo and there was no preamble, there was no catch up, there was nothing. It was, "Hey, I thought of you because I have this problem and I'm just dropping in to leave you this voice memo and see if you could talk about it." We had like a really cool, thoughtful conversation back and forth on voice memo for like 30 minutes. And then we probably won't talk again in a meaningful way for a while. But because she's someone that I like kind of keep up with peripherally, and I've just set a
Yeah.
tone and a culture with of like, there's an open line of communication here. You
Yeah.
don't have to
I'm
show
not
up.
blocking you out. I'm not blocking you
Yes. And
out.
you don't
Yeah.
have to show up and like ask me how I am every time and ask for an update on my life. Like, it's okay. Just get to the meat
Mm.
of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know exactly how I've established that with a lot of people. I think it's a combination of a lot of the things we've been talking about, but like setting that tone, being the one to do it first can really help. Like just popping in with people and skipping
Yes.
the catch up and just being like, "Hey, I thought of you because of this thing," or "Hey, I'm having this issue. I wanted to know what you thought about it." Just skip
That's cute.
to the meat of it. And I feel
Start with a
like
complaint, I feel like. You just start complaining
always,
about something and I feel like everyone knows how to fall in line.
mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It's the
I don't want to
uniting,
hear I don't want to hear about your job. Tell me something you're mad about. Unless you're mad
unless you're
about your
complaining
job.
about it.
Unless you're
Yeah.
complaining about your job. I do want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I experienced a version of this, or yeah, I had like a little blip and revelation maybe just a day or two ago. Another uh, aspect of this whole conundrum that I noticed maybe just yesterday or so is I have like an acquaintance level friend who I honestly adore. We just don't know each other that well yet. She was gonna like comp me a ticket to one of her work things or something. Like it was something she offered, and she went out of her way to offer it to me, and it was really sweet. And I was really interested in taking her up on it, and like coming to this kind of like work event thing. I was genuinely interested and excited to go. And then she kind of circled back, this week and was like, okay, cool. I'm like, I think I can finally get you those tickets. Let me know, what day you want to come to this thing. And we hadn't talked about it in a few weeks. And then ultimately, I looked at my weekend schedule, and both of my editors are on vacation. Both on vacation for like a
Still.
month. Still, yes. And I'm so glad they're on vacation. I'm so glad they're working on their passion projects. And then in the meantime, it means that editing a video for me is 25 to 30 hours. So that means I have 30 extra hours of work this week to do. And then next week, I will also have 30 extra hours. And I am working through the weekend for the foreseeable, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. And then there's like family obligations. And I was looking at the weekend calendar and being like, I already am going to hate this weekend. I could try and force myself to show up to this thing, which I do want to be at and I was excited about. And I know I'm going to be a miserable,
Yeah.
horrid person, either at the event or to everyone else the rest of the weekend complaining about how overwhelmed I am. And that I think would be a big failure on my part to overload my schedule so that all I'm doing with the people I am spending time with is complaining about it all the time. Like it happens, but I don't want to be doing that all the time. And so I made the very pained decision to be like, I am so sorry. I really would love to come to this. And I am looking at my work schedule and I'm not going to be able to make it work. I'm very disappointed to say this. I really appreciate that you offered, but I'm not going to be able to come. I have to say no. And she wrote back pretty briefly, and I really couldn't read her tone. It was
Hmm.
pretty brief, and it was something that made me feel like she might be annoyed. She might be disappointed. She probably is disappointed. She was inviting me to this thing. I was saying I wanted to go. She initiated it. She probably was disappointed. And that freaked me out.
Hmm.
And then right after it freaked me out, I had this little voice remembering, like, okay, but that's the consequence of setting a boundary. That's the consequence of saying that you can't go to something or you can't give something when someone wants you to give something or they want you to go to something. They wanted that. And I made an intentional decision for a reason that I need to say no. And there might be discomfort. like they might that might not be what they wanted me to say, and I had to remind myself of that because I
Yeah.
almost wanted to take it all back, or I almost wanted to send like a second apology text or something.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a big thing where, giving up my seat was it wasn't like some big betrayal. It was just like we'd loosely talked about it, and now I really can't. um but I did stop myself and be like, you know what, maybe she is disappointed. Maybe she's annoyed. That is her right to feel. And it is like the consequence of me setting a boundary I needed to set. She is going to be okay. I don't even know for sure if she was annoyed or
Yeah.
disappointed, but if she was, I do accept that consequence. Sometimes people are disappointed because stuff doesn't match up all the time. And I just like, as the people pleaser, I had to remind myself, as always, this discomfort is the consequence of setting a boundary, and I can handle the discomfort, and she can handle the discomfort. She's not going to end her life over this. She is going to handle it. Maybe
Yep.
she has a little bit of disappointment, and I can handle her being a little disappointed. That's okay.
Yep. I you should know that like your voice saying that it is inevitable to disappoint people. I think that's approximately the phrasing that you
Yeah.
used in an
Yeah.
episode that we had around that topic, like probably pre episode 100. Like it was a while ago that we
Yeah.
talked about this in depth. I mean, it comes up all the time, but you said that and it plays in my head in your voice
I
like
know.
weekly. It's a
So
very important
hard.
reminder, and it's cool to me, I guess, that you have to remind yourself of that too. Like it's
Oh,
important for people to
of
see that,
course.
you know?
I think people who don't struggle with that, they aren't like setting mantras for themselves like that because it's just natural. Like
Yeah.
my sister Elizabeth does not struggle with disappointing people. She's like has great boundaries.
Hmm.
She's not preaching about this shit all the time. I'm interested in talking about it because it's been like such a difficult thing for me to grapple with. You know, I so I talk about it in therapy all the time. And I think it was probably one of my therapists who was like, yeah, you're gonna disappoint people. What are you
Right.
talking about? In this life, you're gonna disappoint people. And if you're not disappointing some people, then you're doing it wrong because that means you have no boundaries. And
You're
it
disappointing yourself.
struck me so, hard. And that's why I care to talk about this stuff. But it is really, really difficult for me.
And it's important too that you gave this example of disappointing someone and setting your boundaries because it's,
In a tiny way. It's not like
yes,
I
it's,
backed out of their wedding. It was like a
but that's
nothing plan that we hadn't solidified and we
right.
theoretically talked about. And then like the day came, like the week came, and I was like, I probably shouldn't because I have to work. And I still felt so bad. Like I almost sent another apology text.
Yeah. But that's the
Why?
thing is like these are the things that happen every single day
Yeah.
that shape how your what your life feels like and what your relationship to yourself feels like and where your energy goes. That's like the theme of the
I
month, I
know.
think. It is an example of that. And I feel like a lot of times people think about boundary setting and we only think about the really big examples of that. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, not going to that person's wedding or setting that boundary with your parent or, you know, like the
Yeah.
really heavy big ones that are like feel life altering. But if you develop a muscle and like practice it in the small day-to-day ways, it
Yeah.
starts to get it starts to just become your norm of like, well, this is how I make decisions. This is how I respect myself. This is how
Seriously.
I do it on a small scale. And then eventually that, you know, maps over to the larger scale stuff. So I do think it's important that like it's not that big of a deal and there wasn't actually a big conflict
Oh
and
my
there it's not actually
God.
someone you're close with.
I don't
But
actually even know that she was
yeah,
upset. I was just
yeah.
like filling in on a short text. And what you said also just made me think of like, I think some of the boundaries, actually, the boundaries that feel hardest to enforce are ones where someone is not being malicious.
Mm,
It's like someone just
true.
wants to, she wanted to do something nice for me. She was offering to do something like nice for me that she like had no obligation to do. And to set a boundary there felt so much harder than someone insulting me or offending me or trying to take away my rights or something. I think those are the ones that feel so hard because you want to like give to the people that you like. That's what I
Yep.
struggle with the most is what you
Yeah.
just made me realize. Yeah.
And that's the summary of the episode, kind of. It's like
I love you, but
friends
leave me
reaching out. What we
alone.
were talking about earlier, that's so hard to say. That's so hard to talk about, the fact that like we avoid answering that call or calling somebody back. And, it's stressful and it's something we kind of dread. I don't know. I just think that's exactly what it's about. It's like, it's really hard because that's a person you like
Yeah.
and they like you and they want to talk to you or hang out with you or whatever. And you're having to
Yeah.
navigate, well, I don't have capacity for that. Like, it's the hardest thing. And that's why it's been hard for us to even talk about. I feel like we've tried to talk about this on episodes before and been like, I don't want to like
We're
offend
not
friends.
allowed.
I
Don't
don't,
cancel me.
let's like maybe, let's maybe not, let's not go there. But this is the most relatable thing.
I
Honestly, I think
know.
even for people who are not, in a position where they have tons and tons of friends reaching out right now, like there's some part of your life where this is applicable, where you don't have capacity
Yeah.
and you're trying to figure out how to navigate that. Like that's really what it comes down to.
Wow, you were really like my what are those people called who like lead you up a mountain with a llama?
Oh, yeah, like Emperor Cusco.
Is that what they are? Hold on, let me Google
He's
this.
the guy
Who
from
leads
The
you
Emperor's
up
New
a
Groove. He's the
mountain
llama.
with
He's
a
the llama that
llama?
I would be with. Maybe I'd be Kronk.
Crunk. Wait, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm just talking about one of my favorite movies.
Like how you have to get somebody to like
Like a
lead
shepherd
you. Well, there's a word I feel like for Machu Picchu style
when
shit.
it's llamas
Who
specifically.
leads you? Wait, I really want to know the answer. Who leads you up Machu Picchu? I didn't spell that right. Oh, it's like is it a shaman?
Oh, I would love to be that for you.
I'm gonna
I
keep
don't
googling this
think
till I find it.
I don't know if that's right. My whole face and lips are peeling, and I just feel like shamans have their shit together when it comes to their skin. So
I'm so mad. Somebody listening knows what I'm talking about. I'm
maybe it's a
I'm
shaman. Shaman is
what?
like a medicine man. I think that's different.
Dang it.
That's why I brought up the lips.
I'm asking ChatGPT and it's like buffering. So can somebody who's listening leave a
This is
comment
why
on YouTube? Can someone
this
leave a
is
comment
why
on
AI
YouTube?
won't take our jobs because we
God
need a
damn it.
person to tell us what this is called.
This is a Googleable thing. God damn it. All right. Well, I can't know. Yeah, okay. Somebody let me know what it's called when there's like the kind of like person who leads you up Machu Picchu, or like it's kind of, I think they have llamas, or they're your guide. Yeah, okay. So next week we have coming up the next episode in our dating series, the Hot Not Bothered Summer Dating Series. Hot Not Bothered. How to date without losing your mind. Let us be your llama guides. Well,
Mm.
we'll do our best, but we might push you
That's
off a
why you were
mountain.
working so hard to find it because it works perfectly in that closer.
Oh,
Damn.
I'm really annoyed.
I like llama guides. People have been adopting this language around Kook University. So if anyone's new here, our listeners have been dubbed the Kooks, and we have merch that you can find linked down below that says
If you're a
Kook University.
graduate
It's a really
of
cool
Kook
sweatshirt.
University, yeah.
And
My dad wears
people,
it.
I love that your dad wears it. My dad wears our lover and hater hats all everywhere. And what was I going to say? Oh, and people will like DM us or email us and say, "Hey, Kooks, I am a senior at Kook University," or "I'm a junior at Kook
I'm
University." It's very cute. And it's their way of being like, longtime listener, like, I'm a senior. Or some people have been like, I
a
just found you. I'm a
senior.
freshman. It's so cute. I don't know how,
Yeah.
I don't think they've all talked about using
I'm a
that
senior at
language.
Kook
I
University.
think
That's
they just
so cute.
started. Isn't it cute?
I
So
love that.
I don't know who's going to be our commencement speaker. Our commencement speech is going to be the
It's
next
be my
Hot Not
dad.
Bothered.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
yeah, or your dad or both. Okay.
I'm still Googling this. I'm so mad. I'm so upset. All
What
right.
if I don't
Apparently,
know.
I made this up. I did not make this up. What? Sherpa! Sherpa!
Oh,
Sherpa!
that's like a material that there was like a Sherpa trend for couches and shit, right?
Well, I think it comes from Sherpa can refer to both an ethnic group and type of fabric. Sherpas are a Nepalese ethnic group known for their mountaineering skills and cultural traditions. So I think Sherpas, they're
Got
known for
it.
like, one of the things they're known for is like guiding you up a mountain.
And is
Like
there a
it when
llama?
there must
Depends.
be. The Sherpa people, yeah, Nepal, India. Is there a llama? Well, the hair comes from something. I don't think it comes from the people. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
We'll be your
Sherpa Mountain
Sherpas.
Guide. Many Sherpas are regarded as highly elite mountaineers and experts in their local area. They were valuable to early explorers of the Himalayan region, serving as guides through the extreme altitudes among the peaks and passes in the region, particularly for Mount Everest climbing expeditions. Sherpa, you have been my Sherpa today.
I love that so much. And it shout out Peking podcast. Go follow that. Okay. Bye.
Bye.